Welcome to the Inferno's Bracket Breakdown Special. Merry March Madness, everyone. I'm Lucas Robbins, and alongside me is Miles Todd, Anthony Mitchell, and Johnny Soto. We have 4 men, 4 regions. Let's get it started. Johnny, what's going down in that East region?
East? I thought you said West. Just came there. Let's get started. This is going to be a good game between the Cavaliers and Memphis, but I got to go with the Cavaliers because they won the ACC tournament and beat teams like Duke and the Cuse. Next game, I got Harvard getting the upset in the first round. However, Gary Harris and Adrian Payne will be too much for Harvard as they will lead the Sparties on to the Sweet 16.
Harvard getting far.
Yeah, then we got the Tar Heels facing off against the Cyclones. DeAndre Kane and Marcus Page will be the matchup to watch, but I believe the Clones will be able to edge out the Heels in that one.
Yeah, they played fantastic against Creighton.
Yeah, they did. And then in the next game, I got UConn and Nova. I'm smelling an upset. I can't explain why. I just got to go with my gut feeling, so I'm picking the Huskies to win in that game.
Gonna pull Seton Hall.
Yeah, they are. Then in the first game of the Sweet 16, I got the Sparties and the Cavs. I know most of the experts have Michigan State winning it all, but Virginia is a #1 seed for a reason, and that's why I'm picking them to advance.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then the next matchup is Iowa State versus UConn. As much as I love Napier and the rest of his crew, I don't see them stopping Edgem and Kane, so I got to go with the Clones in that one. And then for the Elite Eight showdown, it's Virginia versus Iowa State. I believe that the Cyclones are a better team, but in March, it's not about being the better team. It's about being the hotter team, so that's why I'm going with the Cavs.
Interesting choice. We got the Cavs coming out of that Final Four. I was always impressed with them all season. I mean, they were AC champions, won the tournament, beat Syracuse and Duke.
Yeah.
I think people are selling them short.
And with all that said, they still don't talk about them that much.
Exactly. So, Anthony, Midwest region, what's going on?
Yeah, Midwest. It's arguably one of the more competitive regions right now. Got a lot of good teams in there. Man. I got Wichita beating Kentucky, obviously. I got St. Louis versus Louisville. Louisville defending champs. They're going to win. And then UMass and Duke. I think Jabari Parker's going to pull that one out. It's going to be a long day for the Longhorns when UT plays Michigan.
I see what you did there.
Yes, you did. Michigan's going to advance. Then Jabari Parker's going to take that one. Wichita versus Louisville. That's going to be one of the I think that's going to decide the region right there.
Yeah, who's going to win?
I got Wichita. I know people are going to give me hate for that.
It's a bold move. See how it'll pay off for you.
They made the Final Four run last year, and they were not undefeated. They're a lot deeper, more experienced now.
Who won last year?
Louisville. No, Wichita. I am the regional expert. Wichita's going all the way Final Four, beating out Duke. You heard it here first.
Okay.
Bold with the 1 seed.
All right, so Anthony has made a bold statement. Wichita State, shockers getting to that Final Four.
That's a shocker.
Yeah, it is. Miles, West
Too
region.
many puns.
What's going on?
West region. West region is full of a lot of under the radar sleeper teams, if you ask me. First up, we got Arizona versus Oklahoma State. Again, Oklahoma State, that sleeper team, they're under the radar. They had a little of a losing streak going on. They had Marcus Smart out for 3 games during that losing streak. He's back. He's bounced back. He's coming in hot. I got Oklahoma State over Arizona. Next. Yep, thank you.
Good pick right there.
Thank you very much. North Dakota State over San Diego State. Again, San Diego State's kind of like the quiet sleeper under the radar team. They're ranked better than North Dakota State, and I think they're going to beat North Dakota State. Next is Baylor versus Creighton. Baylor's got some new uniforms. Not going to be enough. Creighton
They don't have Dougie McBuckets.
Dougie McBuckets. Dougie McBuckets is going to dominate over Baylor. I think Creighton's got to get that win. Wisconsin versus BYU. I think that's an easy choice, really. I'm going to pick Wisconsin. Next, going from the top, Oklahoma State versus San Diego State. 2 very quiet, under-the-radar sleeper teams. I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. I love
SDSU makeup.
I love Oklahoma. You also have Wichita. I love Oklahoma State. I love Marcus Smart. They got a lot of chemistry going with them. Marcus Smart and Forte have been playing together since 3rd grade. I got Oklahoma State over SDSU. Creighton versus Wisconsin. This is going to be a good game. But again, Dougie McDermott will dominate, and I think that Creighton's going to come out on top over Wisconsin. Now, when it comes to the finals between them, I'm going with Oklahoma State over Creighton. I know it's a classic showdown between superstars. Marcus Smart versus Dougie McDermott.
Picking against Dougie?
Yeah,
That's equal for you?
I'm sorry.
It's a smart in the 3,000 point club.
Homie, I'm just going to...
You're the expert,
We'll see.
but you're wrong, is what I'm basically getting at.
Okay, we'll see. And then you pick Wichita. I got Oklahoma State.
All right, so it's been established. Smart greater than McDermott. Another bold pick with Oklahoma State.
What's your grade in math right now, man?
Doesn't matter.
No, we're journalism majors.
Exactly.
Moving on, last but not least, the South region. I think this one was just loaded with names. So this one's a little bit tricky to pick, but a lot of, hollow teams in here. Florida, of course, is going to advance over Pitt. Even though Pitt has been playing well, Florida's just a better team. I had the Lumberjacks upsetting in the first round, but they run into the Bruins. UCLA is going to advance in that
Bruins
one.
are clicking right now.
Syracuse, Ohio State, this is a little bit tricky one, but I think Syracuse had a great season all year. It's going to get them to that point despite their sliding ways. Syracuse advances.
That's a bit iffy.
Kansas and the Lobos. Kansas is going to beat New Mexico.
Yeah.
Florida, UCLA. Rematch a couple years ago, had a national championship. But Florida, better team. Even though UCLA did beat Arizona in the tournament, Florida advances. Kansas, Syracuse. Both these teams were kind of a disappointment during the season, had a lot of high hopes. You can't really trust either of them. But I think Embiid and Wiggins are going to combine to get that chemistry, that enough amount of healthiness.
Right.
Kansas advances. The Elite Eight matchup, Florida and Kansas. I got Florida going to the Final Four. They're just the best team. They're number one overall seed for a reason. So it's been established.
That's good.
Our Final Four is Florida, Virginia, Wichita State, and Oklahoma State. We got some bold picks going on.
Yeah, we
but
do.
Johnny, Florida, Virginia, who's going to come out winning that matchup to the finals?
It's going to be a good game, man. I love Virginia. That's why I picked them to come out of the region. But Florida is the number one overall seed for a reason, and they won the SEC championship, and they only have 2 losses on the season. I see them advancing to the championship game.
I wouldn't really call 3 1 seeds bold, but if we're getting down to this, I got to go Florida. I mean, they mopped up the SEC. Weaker conference than usual, but still 18-0 in conference play.
They pretty much summed it up. I'm going to pick Florida as well. They got a better conference. I mean, it's a little bit weaker, but I mean, Florida's number 1 for a reason.
So moving on to the bold side of our bracket, we have Oklahoma State, Wichita State. Who's going to get to the finals?
Well, I have nothing against Wichita State. Nothing at all. But I like Marcus Smart and Oklahoma State, and I see them advancing because they're in a better conference than Wichita State, and you always have to bring that up against Wichita State in their conference.
To each his own, and yes, everyone does have to bring up the strength of schedule, but hey, undefeated. You look at the stat line, they made everyone shoot under 40. They're rebound monsters. And last year, again, they made the Final Four run. I don't know. I got confidence in them.
Well,
Shockers.
I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma State. I love Oklahoma State.
Of course.
Hey, look, man, they got great team chemistry, and those rebounds aren't going to do enough. The buckets go in. Oklahoma State's a great scoring team. They're a great offensive team. I'm picking Oklahoma State over your buddy, Wichita.
Kind of springboarding off what Anthony said, Wichita State managed to get to the Final Four last season without going undefeated. This year, undefeated season, why not ride the wave? However, I think Oklahoma State is a little bit more talented. Strength of schedule, unfortunately, comes into play. Hate to see the Shockers go down. Everyone loves a Cinderella team, but I think if those two matched up,
Is it a Cinderella team?
Marcus Smart have to get there.
So, man,
we have our finals. Florida Gators, Oklahoma State Cowboys. Who's claiming the national title?
Well, I got to go with Florida in this one. I love Marcus Smart. He's one of my favorite players right now, but he's not going to stop one single team, so I'm going with Florida to win it all.
yeah, I wouldn't have put OK State in there anyway, but I mean, I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but the 9 seed is not winning this year.
Yeah.
Florida.
As much as I really want Oklahoma State to win,
Finally, something sensible out of your mouth. Say it.
says the guy who picked Wichita. I am going to have to pick Florida. I mean, Florida's just a little bit better team than Oklahoma State. I really would want Oklahoma State to win, but I'm going to have to pick Florida between that matchup.
Going back to the bracket, I think Arizona was the number 1 seed in that bracket. They had the softest one out of the 4. Oklahoma State, I think, was their toughest game. If Oklahoma State can get that far, advance to this point, you run into Florida. I don't think it's going to happen. Florida, the hottest team, haven't lost since Thanksgiving time.
Yeah, I think so.
What,
Undefeated in the SEC, only 2 losses.
That's right. And they won the tournament. You got to go with
They
Florida.
lost UConn.
Is this going to be third time in 5 years, right?
I
That's
think
gonna-
No.
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 It'll be the 3rd time in the last about 10 years.
Yeah.
8 years
Oh,
ago,
okay.
back in 2005,
There we go.
2006,
My
they had
bad.
the back-to-back championship seasons.
Yeah.
Thanks,
But
fellas.
Florida is the overall seed for a reason. The last 3 years, if they win, it'll be the 3rd consecutive time the overall number 1 seed has won, as Louisville did last year and Kentucky did the last 2 years. But Billy Donovan knows how to win in March. You got to go with the Gators. You heard it here. Florida's going to win that national championship. Well, for Miles Todd, Anthony Mitchell, and Johnny Soto, I'm Lucas Robbins. Thank you all for tuning in and seeing what's good with the Inferno. Let the madness begin.